All right, there were some questions that were brought up about copyright, about what can you use, what you can't use. Okay, so what I want you to consider is this. When you want to read a book online, whether it's recording yourself and you're doing the steps that we had mentioned about putting it in your OneDrive and then posting it on your website, just use Scholastic. Don't use anything else. There are some other companies that are giving approval, but the problem is that they are requiring it to be in a closed network, like Teams and that kind of thing. But unfortunately, with preschool, we don't have any kind of closed system for our parents and students to access. So when you want to read books yourself, where your kids are seeing your faces, just use Scholastic Books. And I'll send out the requirements if it hasn't been shared yet from Scholastic, because they do have some things that you have to do in order for you to use their books, such as they have a particular phrase that they want you to say at the beginning of your videos, and you have to send an email to a particular email address with some certain information that they want. But they put out their guidelines for that. They prefer it to be in a closed network as far as Scholastic goes, but they understand that it's not able to. But the big thing for them is, and it's in the guidelines, is just making sure the content is taken down before June 30th. So again, you as teachers reading and posting yourselves reading books needs to be Scholastic only. If you want to put links to, let's just say, other books that are not sent out by Scholastic, here's what you need to do. Okay? It is not going to be you reading the book. It's going to be finding content that's already out there with those permissions. So this is where it gets kind of a little gray area. So looking at my screen real quick, looking at some choices is, for instance, when we had the hurricane, the Carolina Panthers had reached out to the publishers to get permission. So they actually had posted on YouTube, and I can send out this link, some players reading those books. Okay, these people have reached out to get those permissions. If you just Google and you find some random person off the street that's reading a book, you don't know whether or not they've reached out to them. All right. Another thing besides Carolina Panthers is, if you go to YouTube, there is like Storyline Online, where you have famous people that are reading the book. It's published by Storyline Online. It's not some random person that's reading a book. All right, so this part's okay. Where I would lean towards, if you wanted to have other books that are appropriate that maybe Scholastic doesn't offer, is if you go to YouTube and you search authors reading their own work. Like, for instance, this is Eric Carle, who reads The Very Hungry Caterpillar. This part's okay because it's the author reading their own work. They obviously have those permissions because they're the ones that created that work. Okay? So, again, you wanting to read a book to your kids, Scholastic. If you want things that are not Scholastic, I would find, and I can help you post different resources here on, like, Storyline Online. There's authors reading their own works. These would be the ways I would go. I would not try to find some random person's video that they posted reading a book, because you don't know if they have reached out to that publisher to get permission. As far as songs and stuff go, all right, so let's just say, for instance, like Jack Hartman kids music videos that you have that you use in your classrooms because it's just part of your routine. Simply linking it on your website, that's fine. Okay, if you download Jack Hartman videos and put it on your website, that's breaking copyright. But if you put a link to his, A to Z song or his countdown or whatever it is videos, that part's fine because that's created by Jack Hartman. He owns that. You can use it. All right. If you were to go in there and sing Jack Hartman songs, that's breaking copyright because that music and lyrics belongs to him. All right. Thinking about older songs, this is another site that I recommend is pdinfo.com. And this kind of goes over copyright as far as music goes. So if you go to where it says public domain music, all right, and the web address to get here is just pdinfo.com. So when I go to public domain music, it's going to give me options for like alphabetizing the song names. Or I can type in like the title or lyrics that I know. But for instance, like if I want to do Baa Baa Black Sheep. All right, this is from 1765. So this is, if you were to use like the original lyrics and all that, that's fine. But if it's like something that some new artist has, added some updated lyrics to, that's where you can't use it because it's not falling underneath that original date. But the thing that I like about this website is that if you click on the little music note beside it, is that it takes you to other companies that have used those lyrics, okay, or have put it out there for you so that you can use it. All right. But again, this isn't 100% accurate. Just be careful that you're using the companies that are putting stuff out there, okay, not just somebody that's that you're not sure about. All right. Another question that was brought up was about YouTube and seeing this stuff on the side because parents don't know about what's coming up next after this song ends. Okay. If you're in Google Chrome, all right, and this is going to be on the parent side of it, and I can try to put a video together and with these next steps if that would be a big help. But if you look at the list on the right hand side when you're on YouTube, there is that option at the very top for autoplay. If it's toggled to be on, okay, that's where it's going to do that little circle and saying, that it's going to automatically just pull up with one of the next videos that comes up. The parent can toggle that off. All right. Now, if they're worried about videos and stuff on here that's the wrong, inappropriate thing, one thing they can do is in Chrome, it doesn't work in anything else but just Chrome, whether it's a Windows or a Mac, as long as it's Chrome, there is a app, all right, a little addition, a little extension on there called uBlocker. And so I'll just walk you through it. So if I go up here to the top and I click on apps and I go to web store and I'm just going to do a search it's called uBlocker. Okay. And I can tell that it's the one that I want because it's the little red circle with the hand up. All right. And I'm just going to click on add to Chrome. It's going to give me a little warning. I'm just going to say add extension. Okay. And then what's going to happen then is I'll just refresh this video so I can see it. Is if I don't want this to show up for my kids because I'm afraid they're just going to just click, 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 click. If I right click on this area, I can go down here to uBlocker and I can block this ad. And so it's going to say, is that what you want? I'm going to say, I can just go all the way down if I really wanted to. Alright, let's see here. I'll just say it looks good. And block it. And so now here's my video. And I don't see anything else. Okay. Now, when I get to the end of the video, I know somebody else's concerns was, well, what about this stuff? Okay. And I know there's things that people are sending out that you add certain things to the end of the extension and it gets rid of it. But what I'm finding when I'm trying to do it is it doesn't work. So getting rid of the side ads, that's gone now. There's no way to really get rid of this. Okay. So if you've got parents that are concerned with this, I mean, that's an issue. But if you were to, for instance, read the Scholastic books and upload them to OneDrive and put the links on your website, you're obviously not going to run into this issue. Okay, but just kind of keep in mind that it is somebody else's property, and there's really no way to get rid of this part. All right. Again, there is the extension part, but I wouldn't feel comfortable just putting it out there and saying just use the extension and just letting it go. Just kind of be mindful about that. That unfortunately, it's more than likely not going to work. But there is that way to get rid of that sidebar through that U blocker. Okay. Now, if a parent doesn't want it or whatever, they can always just right click on it at the very top and remove. It's not going to hurt anything, but just keep in mind that if they choose to remove it from Chrome, it's going to put those ads back on. And it is per device. So if they add this extension onto their Chrome, then it might not automatically show up on a different device. So just kind of be leery about that. So again, just to backtrack, you reading it online, okay, making your own videos, Scholastic. Posting links on your website to things like music that you, or videos that you watch every day for your routine. That part's fine. Just make sure that it's by the company or by the person's channel that has originally made it, not somebody that's just recreating it. All right. Looking at books that are not Scholastic, that's when I would do like Storyline Online. They have things on YouTube. Just type in where it says authors reading their own work. That's a really big thing to get other books on your website without breaking copyright. Music, you've got the pdinfo.com that lists all the songs and when they were published, but just keep in mind that if it's, say for instance, like Baa Baa Black Sheep, but then you have them adding other words or lyrics to it for a newer version, the newer version is not going to be covered underneath this copyright exemption, okay, where it's the public domain. Public domain is only going to cover you with the original. It might be Old English versions, whatever it is, that's listed on here. It's not going to give you the new versions because it's not covered underneath public domain. All right, and I'll try to get these resources out here and see if I can make some videos for your parents to watch in case there's questions. But just be mindful that we don't have that closed network when we put all this stuff on our website, and we don't want to run into the issue with liability and publishers or whatever coming after whoever to sue and liabilities and all that kind of stuff. We want to play it safe, even though somebody else might be doing it on their sites somewhere else that you're seeing, it does not make it right. Okay? Please, please, please use Scholastic for yours. Use these couple other options for other books, and I'll try to send out what else I can. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.